Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we're going to be answering a question asked by a subscriber. But before we get on with that question, do me a quick favor, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. There's been some weird things going on with the channel. Well, you know, that's just how the YouTube thing seems to work. But anyway, if you would subscribe to the channel, make sure, you know, everything's on the up and up. All right, so the question is from someone by the name of Daryl Wilson Sr. Hi, Daryl, how you doing, man? I apologize for the delay on this video. But Daryl wrote this. He goes, "Hi, Coach Bob and Coach Vic. I am a subscriber. I look at all of your videos. Last weekend, I ordered my 2023 CanAm Spyder RT Limited. Do you have any advice for new owners? Thanks in advance, Daryl, a.k.a. Big D." Well, Daryl, again, I apologize for it not, it taking so long to make this video. I really wanted to get this video out last week on the 19th. So here I am a week late. My apologies. As you can see, I'm wearing CCS swim gear. That's because we got back from a district meet today. So we are in the throes of travel and going crazy with swim. It's wonderful, but it's very, very busy as well. So let's talk about, do I have any advice for new owners? Yes, I do. All right, so the first thing I would say to any owner of a motorcycle of any kind, and by the way, a lot of these things are going to be across the board for two-wheel or three-wheeled. Anytime you buy a new machine that is a motorcycle, but if you're moving from a two to a three-wheel, this might be a little more specific for you though in some areas. But the very first thing that is across the board is I would suggest that you buy some good equipment. Now, equipment, like anything else, is expensive, and in today's world, expensive can be quite painful. A good helmet is absolutely, I think, is just a total necessity. Buy once, cry once is what I live by when it comes to helmets. I've got Shoei helmets, I've got AGV helmets, and I recently purchased an Arai helmet, which is sitting right over here. I've spent a lot of money on helmets. I really like a quality helmet. I like the way they feel on my head, and they're going to protect my brain in the event of a catastrophic event on the motorcycle. A good pair of gloves, a good jacket, and some boots. You can wear your jeans if you want to get riding jeans. I wear riding jeans as well. But just take your time and buy that stuff as quickly as you can. But I would initially start out with a solid helmet and solid jacket. That's always a great place to start. A good solid helmet is going to be a little pricey. The jacket, you can get CE level rated stuff for less than 150 bucks. So there's that. You get that part out of the way. Now let's look at what on the Spyder. What would I have advice for the new Spyder rider? First off, I would say become very familiar with your machine. And what I mean by that, learn to check the oil. Go through your owner's manual. The oil checking procedure for a CanAm Spyder is different than most machines, so learn how to do that. Look under the seat. There's a little sticker under the seat that will tell you what your tire pressure should be set at. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to some internet cowboy who probably knows less than nothing. All he knows how to do is stir up mess on the internet. Look at what the manufacturer, the one who designed your machine, tells you the air pressure should be in your tires, and do that. That is going to keep you safe. People can do what they want to do, and I'm okay with that. You know that. I'm not a safety Sally who tells everybody what, you got to do this or you're doing it wrong. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with what the manufacturer says. So get familiar with your machine. Learn to utilize all of the functions on it. Cruise control, your heated grips, your heated seats. Learn to use those things and learn to use them without it being a distraction. Because those distractions, although they're niceties, they'll get you killed. So learn your way around the machine, just the basic mechanics of it, how to check the oil, tire pressure, the basic fundamental stuff. Then get familiar with all of your controls. And when you're learning your controls, learn them in the garage. Crank your Spyder up. Learn those things while you're sitting still. Every time you go out, do one thing, only one thing. Like, for example, you go, okay, I want to learn to turn the cruise control on and off. Go out with the sole purpose of training to learn to utilize your cruise control. I want to know where my windshield should be set. Go out with the sole purpose at varying speeds, raising and lowering your windshield. How is it impacting my visibility? How is it impacting the buffeting on my head? How exhausting, how noisy is it going to be if I have it down too low? How much is it going to impair my vision if I have it too high? Those sorts of things. You know, we are going to listen to the music. We are going to use navigation. As you go out, work with those individual things one at a time. And before you know it, you will be very, very comfortable with where the blinkers are, where the button is to raise and lower the windshield, where your brights are, where your gear shift lever is, you know, not reaching for a handbrake if you come from a two-wheel background, not reaching for a clutch, steering as opposed to counter steering, all of these things that are just a part of the Spyder world. Now, I just brought up steering versus counter steering. That is another great thing. So number 3 is learn to steer your Spyder. Now, what do I mean by that? Learn to steer. Obviously, you can get on it and you can ride around the neighborhood and go around the block. That's pretty easy. Anyone can do that has a Spyder. But the one thing that I see more often than not with Spyder riders, or certainly people that buy a Spyder, is they're very, very surprised at the sensitivity of the steering. So much so that a lot of people, it just scares them away from the machine and they're afraid of it and they sell them. I mean, I've actually seen people buy a Spyder and a month later it's on the market because they're like, I can't steer the darn thing without ending up in the other lane. I'm going to tell you that is reactionary because I can take my Spyder out and ride in a perfectly straight line and not overreact and not oversteer. Oversteer is very, very critical issue with the CanAm Spyder. If you oversteer, you're going to be all over the road. One of Coach Vic and mine's first high-speed rides, we got out on the interstate. I probably had the Spyder 2-3 weeks. She's like, Bob, you are all over the lane. And I was doing everything I could to keep the Spyder stable as I could. But I was oversteering. I was overcorrecting. So how do you learn to do that? Well, I'll drop a link to a video on how to steer a Spyder right up here. But the big thing, the best way to learn is find a road that is not busy. Go out at 30 to 45 miles an hour. Get very comfortable there. Bump it up 5 miles an hour, 50. 5 miles an hour, 55. 5 miles an hour, 60. By the time you're comfortable at 60, and this will probably take a week, maybe 2 weeks, you will be smooth as glass at 60. Then you can bump it up 10 miles an hour up to 70 to an interstate speed. When you make that last bump, you're going to feel more confident than you would have had you not done this gradual improvement. But you're still going to be super flighty initially. You'll learn it. Be patient with yourself. Don't be angry. Just get out there. Don't oversteer. Watch the video. I'll have the link also down below. Watch that video. It's really going to help you out. So another thing, turning the Spyder. Work on your handling skills. How to turn the Spyder. How to flow through turns as to bump, bump, bump. You'll see that. You'll ride with someone and you'll see them bump it a little bit. They'll bump and turn, and then they'll kind of track to the right. They'll bump and turn as they're making a left sweeping turn. It's like when someone's learning to drive a car and they've got that steering wheel and they're kind of doing this to work their way around the curve. Same thing. That same thing happens on the Spyder. Learn how to sweep through those turns smoothly. And you can start with a low speed because you don't want to end up in the ditch. You don't want to end up in the trees. And yes, you can. So work on your general steering ability. Now, as you're doing this, what you also need to learn is the braking capabilities of the Spyder. Now, the Spyder in the owner's manual, and you can correct me down below if you want to, and I'm okay with that. It talks about not doing heavy, hard braking during the break-in of the Spyder. Now, I'm not going to tell you to, go out there and activate your ABS and slam on the brakes in the first 20 miles of having your Spyder. That's not what I'm saying. After you get some miles on your Spyder and you know how to steer and you know how to sweep through turns, and now you need to learn your braking distance for when you are. All of this is done in very low traffic volume situations, by the way. When I say low, I mean no. Okay, no traffic. Find some old roads that are out there that don't have traffic on them. Learn what your braking performance is on the Spyder at low speed, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I actually went out. I've got a video. You can type in braking distance Spyder. I'll see if I can't leave a link down below if I can find that video. But that video, I did a comparison between a two-wheeled motorcycle, the CanAm Spyder, and a car on how well they stop. The Spyder stops okay for a touring machine. It does not stop like a quality adventure bike. It does not stop like a sport bike. It does not stop like just a traditional, conventional, standard motorcycle. It stops like a big, heavy, behemoth touring machine. That's what it stops like. And you have to learn, when you're seeing a car up there and in your mind, you're going, when is my point of no return? When can I stop all of a sudden if that guy pulls out in front of me? You know, you have that moment when you're riding. Here's a car, he's pulled out in front of you and you're driving along. There's that moment where you go, if he pulls out, there's nothing I can do. I'm all in at this point. At that point, hopefully you've made eye contact. There's some sort of vibe going on where you go, I'm not going to get T-boned here. But learn that braking distance. Learn where your cutoff points are. It's important to know when you can't stop and when you can stop. All right, so now you can stop it and you can steer it and you know how to perform basic maintenance on it. You have all of your safety gear. What else is there? Acceleration. Learn the acceleration characteristics of the Spyder. You know, I've ridden with a lot of people, some that say the Spyder is a pig, it's slow, it's this, it's that. It's really not. And then there are other guys who, the Spyder, it's a rocket ship, it's super fast, it's crazy. It's really not. It's a touring machine. It accelerates well for a touring machine. It does not accelerate well for a sport bike. It does not accelerate well for an adventure bike. It accelerates okay for a touring machine. That's what it is, though. Don't try to create it into something that it's not. So learn the acceleration characteristics. Here's what I mean by that. When you see a car down the road and that car is going to pull, if that car is driving down the road, you're going to pull out in front of this vehicle. You need to know how fast the Spyder will go to keep you from getting run over, to also just to not hack the guy off. You don't want to whip out in front of somebody and they're slamming on brakes to keep from killing you. You know, you start a war with a guy in a cage, you're going to lose. That's just the way it is. The car is going to win. It's just simple physics. So learn the acceleration characteristics so that you can more safely get out of the way and you can get rolling down the road. So now you know how to accelerate, you know how to brake, you know how to steer, you know how to work the mechanical side of the machine, you know all of your basic maintenance. If you have all of that, now this should all happen, I'm going to say, in the first 6 to 8 weeks of ownership. Within 8 weeks, you should know I can get between these two things without hitting the front tires. I can make a U-turn on a road this wide. If the road's this narrow, I'm going to have to put my front right tire, 6 inches into the grass to make a U-turn, and it's going to be 6 inches into the grass on the other side. You should know how to back up. You should know these basic fundamental low-speed maneuvers. You know, the Spyder is a big machine. So all of this maneuvering, you really need to know how to do that. So there's another thing, is that low-speed maneuvering. It is important. You have to know your limitations of where you can park and where you can't park, what kind of visibility the Spyder has, all of that stuff. So there are a few things for you to think about. So when you get your Spyder, make sure that you train and you learn. You watch videos, you go outside and you ride, and you actually practice when you ride. Virtually every time I go for a ride, there is a 15-minute window in there. That 15-minute window is Coach Bob education time. I am going to work on a skill set while I'm out. It could be U-turns, it could be figure eights, it could be braking, it could be accelerating, it could be sweeping turns. Every time I go out, whether it's on the Spyder, whether it's a two-wheeled machine, and I have several of them, I'm working, I'm learning, I'm trying my best to learn. And the older I get, the more important it is for me to hone these skills and to keep them sharp. Because I'm going to tell you, if you don't work on them, you will lose your skills. All right. Well, there you have it. A few strategies to make your Spyder experience as good, as fun, and as safe as it can possibly be. All right. Well, there you have it. So do me a favor until next time. You go out by the motorcycle of your dreams. Eat right. Take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I'll see you on the road real soon.